Next curve.
Welcome, everyone, to this Next Curve Rethink podcast episode where we break down the latest tech and industry events and happenings into the insights that matter. I'm Leonard Lee, Executive Analyst at Next Curve, and I'm here with my very good analyst friends. Anurag Agrawal he's the Chief Global Analyst. This is like probably the highest title in the entire analyst universe. But he is the Chief Global Analyst of Techaisle, the leading SMB tech research firm out there. And then, of course, my good friend, Prakash Sangam of Tantra Analyst. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Great. Happy to be here. And I tell you, when you say the highest title possible, and I must tell you this, that after I took on that title many years ago, I have seen others follow suit. They have changed their title, even if it's a one-man show.
Yeah.
They've changed their title to call themselves the chief analyst. Okay. So
yeah. You started a trend. You raised the bar.
Yeah, copying is the best way of flattery, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. And so, gentlemen, we're going to be doing our CES 2026 recap, but we'll also be talking about probably the biggest highlight of this year's event, which was Lenovo's Tech World 2026, which was quite amazing. It took place at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and we'll address that as well. And, very interested to hear what you guys thought about the event and what were the takes that really popped from that, rather fantastic event. And before we get started, remember to like, share, and comment on this episode and subscribe to the Rethink podcast here on YouTube and Buzzsprout. Take us on the road, on your jog, and listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. And this podcast is for informational purposes only. Statements by my guests are their own and don't reflect that of Next Curve. We just want to provide a forum for debate and discussion on tech and the industry. And with that, gentlemen, let's start off with CES 2026.
Let's do it.
I mean, as usual, crazy, insane event. I was there starting on Sunday, so I had a good 5 days there. But gentlemen, let's start off with Anurag. What were the key takes and impressions that you got out of the event? Maybe let's start off with impressions really quickly, and then we'll go around with the key takes. So Anurag.
Sure, absolutely. But one of the most important things I learned was, hey, I got in my steps. I saw on my Apple Watch that 16,500 steps average per day.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, you guys were walking a lot more. You were like moving from one venue to another venue. I was in just in a couple of venues, but it was good. But to answer your question, from my perspective, the big takeaway or the big impression this year was not just more AI, but a gradual shift towards agentic autonomy, right?
Yeah.
Last year, we talked about co-pilots. This year, we saw the industry talking about agents, systems that don't just assist, but actually execute. We saw this in the physical AI theme dominating the floor, where AI is finally getting bodies from production-ready Boston Dynamics Atlas to the rise of the phygital. I call this the phygital, which is the physical plus digital platforms. Platforms. Yeah, and we are also seeing the birth of the autonomous organization, where technology is no longer a tool for a user, but a digital teammate. We saw that in health tech, in home tech, and so on and so forth. And on the PC side, I think we have moved beyond AI on the PC to the PC reimagined for AI and modular hardware design and so on and so forth. But yes, you are right. What stole the show? Not the device, but the Lenovo Tech World.
Yeah.
It was such a grand keynote,
Yeah.
bite-sized information. The experience was absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Was that your first time, by the way, at the Sphere?
No, I was at the Sphere first time with HP keynote.
HP, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yes, so that was several years ago.
Mhm.
That was followed by HPE or something like that. I forget. Last year was a good one. That was GCP. Google Next had its keynote there, where they actually spent a lot more time on saying how they actually digitized Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of
I
Oz,
think
yeah.
that's how they spent time. But the experience was phenomenal.
Yeah. Cool. Prakash, what about you? What were your impressions? Your
Yeah,
initial
sure. I mean, I
impressions?
agree with no two words about Tech World being the center of attraction, if you will. I'll come to Lenovo and the details a little bit, but I think overarching message for me was, AI was this concept, this futuristic thing. Everybody had their own idea, last year and the year before that. But you see actual manifestation of that AI into actual products, services, and use cases and so on, right? So physical AI, of course, was everywhere. I mean, and it gives, in my view, a good headline for IoT, connectivity, AI,
Yeah.
processing everything together, edge compute, and everything together in something that is meaningful and useful for people, right? So, of course, yeah, right. So that is second physical AI, and then when we went around all these shows, robot dog was kind of a favorite for each and every
Yeah.
and almost every booth, but it was humanoid this year, right? Whether you are connected to physical AI and humanoid or not, but you have to have a humanoid in your booth to be cool, right? So that was
Yeah.
one thing. And I see that there's a lot of things happening on the PC side, which was not the case for almost last decade. A lot of experimentation, bringing AI PCs are a thing now. But what to do with that AI? I think the Kira that Lenovo announced, I think that is, instrumental. The first time OEM, it's a big step for them coming up with something that basically putting a front end for everything, every complexity that is on PCs or laptop or the phones, and being a AI agent for a user, hiding all the complexity. I think we'll dig deeper into it. But I think, yeah, that's at a very high level what my takeaways were. And of course, the steps which CES and CES in
Putting in
January
the steps. Yeah.
and the Mobile World Congress in February, March. Those 2 months were the highest steps ever and all the time
Yeah.
year that I put in, right? 2 months that you put in steps, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I think CES tends to be worse. I put in maybe 25,000 steps a day.
Wow.
There you go.
Pretty bad.
16, 17, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And the problem is the transportation is iffy. So
Yeah.
if you want to make your meeting in
Okay.
another building, sometimes it's better just to walk.
Walk, yeah.
Yeah.
Even for LVCC to win, I did couple of walks
Yeah.
because getting on a bus or a taxi was taking so much of time. Walking, I think, is the best conveyance at CES.
Yeah.
So about that, and also I did not get sick. Which
That's
lot of
awesome.
Touch wood.
lot of
Touch
people
wood.
do get
Yeah.
sick at CES.
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah.
But this year for me, it was interesting to see AI infrastructure get injected into the conversation. But I think that was countered by a pretty strong vibe coming off of edge AI, especially from the silicon perspective, as well as this whole area of perception AI, right? And so, interestingly, there's a lot of excitement outside of the data center. And I think you mentioned, Prakash, AI PC. I think it's still trying to find its legs, but the more interesting applications may actually be in the industrial edge, as well as some of these other IoT scenarios where contextual computing is going to actually be a possibility, right? And restructure the thinking around IoT and what you can do with IoT, whether it's for consumers, industry, or the enterprise. So that was a nice counterpoint to what we've been seeing, like a lot of chip companies, in particular NVIDIA and AMD, try to press upon a consumer electronics or tech conference with their infrastructure narrative. So, and they had set up what is that thing called? There was a CES the Foundry, right, over at the Fontainebleau. Yeah. Where they had a lot of the AI emphasis. I don't know. They called it AI and then quantum. I didn't see a lot of the quantum stuff.
Yeah. It was a big missing piece. Yeah.
Yeah, and historically, IBM has been the custodian of the quantum topic at CES. I mean, dating way back when I was even at IBM. So this is a really long time ago. But I didn't see too much quantum stuff, which may be a good thing. I don't know. I think everyone's still trying to figure out what to do with AI at the moment. But anyway, Anurag, how about your key takes from the event? What were the things that really popped for you? I know that we were at many of the similar or the same vendor events, right? But what are those things that really made an impression for you this year?
Right. So the way I think about this, Emma, there were two things that I was following up, right? One is the silicon, the chips that you mentioned, the silicon foundation. And the other one was the OEM innovation peak. Where is that innovation going, which is right with respect to Lenovo and Dell and HP. But before we lean on into OEM, I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about that. Let's talk about this silicon foundation, right? Because the way I thought about this and the way I absorbed is that we are now coming into this agentic future, right? And I found that the chip makers are in a brutal arms race to actually own that local NPU story, right? Yeah. And we saw that NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, really leaned into physical AI. The announcement of Vera Rubin platform and the Alpamayo, I think I'm saying it correctly, reasoning models for autonomous vehicles shows that NVIDIA is really moving beyond the data center and into the thinking machine space. Intel, I think, from my point of view, it could be a massive year for Intel. They launched their Panther Lake, I think they call it Core Ultra 3 on the 18A node.
Series 3,
Yes, is their do or die moment to reclaim manufacturing leadership, right? I mean, I don't think they will die, but I think we like to call it a do and die moment. And Lisa Su countered with the Ryzen AI 400 series, right? And their focus is clearly on the efficiency crown, right? To ensure that the heavy lifting of the agentic automation happens on the device, not in the expensive cloud. And then Qualcomm, I think you guys know more about Qualcomm. I did not get to interact with them quite a bit, but Qualcomm, while Intel and AMD are actually fighting to stay relevant at the high end, I think Qualcomm made a case at the CES to go after the mainstream volume. Yeah. They launched the Snapdragon X2 Plus, which brings the flagship 80 tops, I think,
Yeah.
NPU down to $800 price point, right?
Yeah.
And for the SMB market, the way you started off my intro, the SMB in the mid market, which is our sweet spot, this is the most disruptive announcement, right? And they were also in the automotive space, right?
Yeah.
The Snapdragon Cockpit Elite and the Ride Elite and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I think those were my Silicon Foundation quick takes. I mean, what about yours? I mean,
Prakash, you're next, man.
Yeah, sure. So, I agree with what all Anurag said on the silicon front. Especially, I'm impressed with Qualcomm's X2 Plus. I think that's going to be, for at least the near future, consumer is going to be their target market. I mean, of course, they're trying to get into enterprise, but that's a long game, right? And it'll take some time for them. And then consumer, I think the mid market is key with the X2 Plus with highest NPU 80 tops that anybody can offer in that range.
yep.
It's I think really key. So we have talked about AI PC on device, AI processing and so on, but we are starting to see that happen, right? Like Kira is a good example. I know in a call at the AMD in the morning today where they said they're working with like 180 ISVs, small and big, to utilize NPU in a better way, come up with applications and use cases to utilize NPU. So if the NPU usage takes off in next couple of years, the guys who are buying PCs today this year will have these PCs for next 2 years. And then when you compare 40 or 50 of Intel and AMD versus 80 of Qualcomm Snapdragon X2, I think that'll stand out, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So a lot depends on this on-device AI takeoff. How the larger it is, the larger is the gain of Qualcomm, right? So that's one. And coming back to Kira, I think it is one. I would say a key moments in time for AI on PCs or on devices, I would say. But I think it's more relevant in my view on PCs right now. Of course, it will be on device on phone as well. But from a phone point of view, it is almost the Microsoft controlling the all aspects of user experience and interface so far, but this is the first time you have something that directly that is a solution from the OEM which interfaces with the customer. It is across the devices. It is secure because a lot of all of the information stays on the device securely, but the experience spans across devices, right? Across laptops, whether it is a phone. Right now, I think it's Lenovo, but looks like it could be on non-Lenovo phones as well. So that is very instrumental, and all three of us were in a detailed debrief on it. So how they've instrumented, how they are storing the knowledge graph securely, how they are transferring that securely without only the context and the theme, not the actual data, and so on. That is really interesting. I think this would encourage others to look at doing something as well. Right now, everybody is kind of doing behind either Gemini or Copilot. Like for example, you can buy stuff on Walmart or other stores on Gemini right away or on Copilot, which is kind of going behind these AI models and behind their front end interface. So you're working with them, but Kira is much more revolutionary in the sense that it is on the front end rather than the back end of these LLMs. So that is extremely interesting development in my view. And also Samsung, of course, they had their large 130, 140-inch TVs and other things. I attend their keynote, which is of course AI everywhere. but AI making their smart things, IoT devices much smarter, much more connected, contextual. I think that's an example of what I was saying. AI not for AI's sake, but making it meaningful for the users and making use of it for better user experiences and such. And they announced their laptops, Galaxy Book 6 series.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think one improvement there is previously there are too many models in my view. There was a standard one, there is a Pro, there is a 360 version, and there is a 360 Pro, and a regular Pro and 360 Pro, and so on. A lot of complications on which one to select. Although their portfolio is smaller, even it was confusing, but they have streamlined it with only three models this time. And the performance I checked out, get to check out, it was pretty good as well. They had their Trifold for experience,
Yeah.
which
Not a big fan of that.
yeah, I mean, I mean, if you are, this is the conundrum for me is with Fold 6, sorry, with Fold 7, you have now a device, foldable, which is very similar to a classic mainstream flagship
Yeah.
smartphone, and you are happy with saying, I know I get a foldable larger screen with the same form factor as a mainstream flagship device. Now, to get a larger screen, I have to go to a thicker device as well. So that's kind of a conundrum. But I'm impressed by its
Yeah.
performance, how thin it is.
Mhm.
The thinness is defined by the width of the C, the USB-C connector. So
Mm.
I used it. I loved it. I would definitely use it in, although it's a little bit thicker than the current Fold 7. So yeah,
Yeah.
and they had their headset, Galaxy XR headset
Yeah.
on display for experience as well. I tried it out, pretty good. I probably be reviewing it soon. So yeah, that's kind of a
Cool.
high level key
Yeah.
takeaway.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just think it's a publicity stunt, and both on the part of Huawei and then now fast following with Samsung. Samsung kind of had to do it because it looked like they might be behind, but I have to be really honest with you. That thing was friggin' thick.
Yeah, I
And
mean, that's
it's clunky.
yeah, it's a first version. That's
Yeah,
how
I mean,
that's when they fold up the
yeah,
regular folds were Z folds were. But now I think the holy grail would be
mm,
basically getting a trifold
mm.
in the as thickness and weight as a regular mainstream flagship, which I think is on the way. It's
I think
time.
you bump into physical limits because, quite honestly, I
No,
think the
not
glass
necessarily. Yeah, not
glass is
necessarily.
too thin, and it's prone to breaking.
I mean,
And
yeah. I mean,
so
that was how it was when the thin phones came, right? So I believe in technology evolution, and I wouldn't be surprised we'll see that in next couple of
yeah,
years.
maybe they'll invent the glass from Star Trek, the what is it, the transparent aluminum. And then at that point, maybe we can revisit this. But at this point, I think the Gorilla Glass for those phones have to be so thin that you're going to have breakages, and then eventually the OEMs are not going to want to produce those anymore. But what I was really impressed by,
Mhm.
and I was glad I actually found it at the Lenovo HQ for CES 2026, was their Razr Fold. And I did like a side by side with the Samsung Z Fold 7. It's almost as thin, but it does have a slightly curved screen, so it makes it a little bit thicker. But going back to that comment I made about the glass, I think there may be more durability in the display glass because of that curvature. I don't know, but it seems that way. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was more rigidity and a durability thanks to that design. Maybe they learned something, but I know that if it's flat, you don't have to drop it; it cracks. And the other thing was I was really surprised by their signature. The Razer signature
The Razr
is
signature.
thin. It's almost like an edge more than it is, let's say, a response to an iPhone 17 or S26 or 25 or 26. It's thin.
Yeah.
And the materials are really nice, so the grip is nice. So I never
used on any of their phones. I think even I had heard good things about their first flip kind of.
They're good.
Flip.
They're very good.
I would love to test them out, especially Fold. I mean, I've been using foldables since Fold 4, which is like 2022, early 2022, something like that. So would love to test it out. If they send me one and review it.
Yeah, I mean, I have not used a single foldable phone ever at all. I don't intend to buy it. If somebody sends it to me, then I will definitely try it out. But I have been using Apple device for a very, very long time. But yes, I mean, but the Motorola phones, some of them are really, really good. I'm not sure if Signature is being introduced in the US or not through Verizon.
It is.
It is okay.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know about Verizon, but
no, but I think one of the phones was not being introduced in the US. So maybe it was the Signature or maybe it was the Fold. I'm not. They're foldable. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I should have gone to the Samsung site to kind of see there, but I did not. I was way much.
Yeah.
I was spending way too much time on Dell and HP and Lenovo.
So Motorola, I'll say this. I think I tweeted this as well. It's making big strides in basically becoming a third premium phone in the US market. I think they should focus more on the US market because that's you set the trend here, right? So and I think market is ready for a third premium OEM in the US. So, and the strides they have been making, Motorola, I think they are there. So,
they definitely have their own style. It's different. They're not fast following Apple all the time, or they're not fast following Samsung. They really do have their own
identity.
And then the other thing. Smart glasses. A lot of folks were thinking that smart glasses would be a big thing going in, and I think it were, but there hasn't been much improvement since last year. It was like, these things are still not that great. Pretty bad actually. I had a couple of interactions with folks at the CES unveil. And, it's clear these are not standalone devices. There's this misconception right now. Everyone thinks that these are somehow standalone devices. They're not. They're peripherals. And the smartphone is your puck.
Correct.
And anyone who tries to sell a puck, good luck.
Yeah.
That is.
I would rather buy a external battery same size as a puck at much cheaper price, right? Why would you buy a puck?
Maybe.
And I'm actually appalled. I expected actually more concerns about privacy with this with the AR glasses, because I mean it is recording everything. You don't know when it is recording, when it's not. And people might say, oh, it's only recording in the public, but a lot of times you're walking on the road, you might record what's happening inside a home or office or something like that. So I'm actually really, really surprised that people are not worried about the privacy issues with the AR glasses yet. I'm really surprised.
I don't know if people aren't, but the OEMs, many of the OEMs aren't. So that may be the problem. But Anurag, you were going to say something?
No, I was saying about the AR glasses. I've been in several meetings where the person sitting opposite me was wearing an AR glass, and I said, "You need to take it off." I don't know what is being recorded. But at the same time, I've seen some of my family members use it very, very effectively, right? To say, "Hey, I'm going for my grandkids some function or some
Yeah.
concert or something, and they kind of just tap it and they record it, right? And it works out pretty well instead of trying to take out their phone. But what I was coming back to is Motorola. I mean, Prakash made a comment about being the third premium market, and we already know that Motorola is currently the number 3 smartphone in the US, but they are in a trap, right? Because of the fact that they are in the prepaid market with Cricket and Boost or Metro or T-Mobile or whatever it is, right? But I think while Motorola is the quiet giant in the prepaid market, but with Lenovo's pocket to cloud strategy and the Lenovo Kira AI ecosystem, they have the potential to use AI to break out of that budget category in the US and finally give US enterprises and the affluent consumers a reason to look at Motorola phone as a serious tool again.
Absolutely. I mean, especially if you look at their enterprise, penetration and enterprise presence, they have a very strong play to make a good enterprise phone. But with all the investments they are doing in branding, in terms of Pantone and Swarovski and other things, I think they can be default premium period, right? Not with a qualification. So. And for that, I think I don't remember. Some of the phones are coming through Verizon, so they are now limited to the prepaid and tier 2 operators. But if they come on to tier 1 operators and then have a strong presence in enterprise, so they can definitely claim their position as a premium. The phone is premium, no question about it, right? It's only positioning and branding. That's what is.
So I have to tell you an interesting story. So about a month ago or 2 months ago, we were traveling. Me and my wife, we were traveling somewhere, and at the airport, who do we meet? Sudhir Chadaga, who is the chief strategy officer of mobility, and he whipped out his Swarovski phone. And my wife said, for that, I will switch from Apple to Motorola.
Yeah. No, they're very attractive.
Their earphones. Swarovski, those were splendid as well. I mean, you basically, rather than they looking ugly, they look like ornaments on your ears, right? So
they look great. But that, I mean, Kira is an example of why actually Lenovo is in a unique position. And I know we're talking a lot about Lenovo, but they are a unique company that they have the pocket to cloud, and it's not, and they're different in that way from Samsung, which is really pocket to desktop. The AI strategy, the breadth of it and the scope of it can extend far further than pretty much any other company out there at the moment. I mean, there may be a few corner cases that you might be able to highlight. Last time I think Anurag, I think you might have brought up Google, but maybe that's probably not a good equivalent, especially given that Google's not really in the similar place as Lenovo is in the ecosystem. But that's what makes Kira really sort of special. That orchestration piece, that overlay, and it makes them actually in that regard maybe broader than what Apple has done. And
absolutely true.
A lot of folks have this misconception that Apple is behind on AI. No, they're not. If you ever bothered to study their stack, they are pretty damn advanced. And probably if you look at the split ecosystem that is the non-Apple ecosystem, to be able to bridge those two, platform universes is a friggin' big deal. And, we know that Lenovo has invested quite a bit, Smart Connect is one of the key bridges that they've brought to market. And then now they're extending on top of that. And then so when you look at cross-device, cross-platform, plus now you establish that, then you can have the cross-platform, cross-device AI. And so that's that unique story behind Kira, which may not get fully appreciated. I mean, we're talking about it now here.
Yeah.
Outside of this conversation, it probably is not going to be all that well understood.
Yeah. And also right now, right? I mean, if you go to any device, there are tons of options on what you use for AI. Just simple for chatting. There's chat.
Same with on Apple too.
And you get confused which one to use, which one is good, which one is bad. So I think the key thing, which a lot of people are not appreciating, is being that single interface. On the back end, it could use Gemini, it could use Copilot, it could use Anthropic or other, and I think it also uses the a few others. So being at the being like a single point of interface for the user for all AI, which is personalized based on all of your background and contextualized. I think there is nothing like that out there, and not anybody is even close to offering something like that. Probably Apple would if they tried enough, but they're not there yet, right? So
no, you're right. So because the way I think about this is that Lenovo Kira is actually addresses the core user problem, right? Because today users exist in multiple digital states, right?
Yeah.
Your PC, your work, your personal, simultaneously, yet their data does not. So Lenovo Kira's primary differentiator is its ability to be a single intelligence that travels with the user. And the true differentiator lies in Lenovo Kira's ability to construct a cross-device data substrate rather than just indexing files. And we talked about that a lot during the Kira meeting. Rather than just indexing files, it builds a dynamic graph of user intent, connecting a document viewed on, say, a ThinkPad to a related message received on a Motorola smartphone. I think once people start to see the utility of it, the usefulness of it, I think it can really take off, right? Because it provides that productivity layer, which every user actually is kind of looking for these days.
And it's your one single thing, go-to single thing to do, right? Other than multiple sources, multiple applications, multiple devices. It's like one thing where you get access to everything that is related to you.
I mean, Lenovo. I know we're talking a lot about Lenovo,
way too much.
But the thing is,
but it's a big deal. It is a big deal.
It's a big deal because the Sphere was not just marketing. I think it was a statement of intent, right? And Lenovo is clearly, of all the PC OEMs, in fact, of all the OEMs, is clearly the most experimental.
Oh
right? The Aura Edition PCs, based on Intel, are no longer just laptops with that smart share.
And the rollables,
Correct. And the rollable. The real wow factor was their Legion Pro. I think it was the rollable concept. Seeing a screen expand horizontally from a 16 to 24 inches is a game changer, right?
For gaming,
This is something I distinctly remember I had mentioned to Dell 6 years ago. I said, you know what? I need something that can expand horizontally because that's where it will be, and then.
You mean vertically or horizontally? Vertically.
Horizontal.
Oh, okay.
No, the Legion is horizontal. It becomes.
Legion. Okay.
You got to say. I mean, they told me it's a concept PC. I said no. You shouldn't be wasting time tying it down. Get out of the market. I think it'll sell like hotcakes.
Correct. Right. But I think not many people really talked about their Lenovo Qubit.
Yeah.
Their new, it was seen at the Sphere, right? They had a pretty good demo of it, right? Which is the new AI orchestrator that acts as the brain for the home or a small office, managing local LLMs across all the devices. I think that is really, really powerful, right? So I think it is good. But
so that
yeah.
And maybe this is a lesson for everyone else, because everyone plays a good quote unquote hybrid AI game, but there's few companies that are really well equipped to make that happen. So, I guess this is really why we're talking about Lenovo and not talking that much about Dell or HP, because while they're strong on the enterprise side, the continuum that they can play is not as broad as what Lenovo is. And the thing is, Lenovo is very cognizant of this.
And they're open to experiment. They're open to experiment and take risks and then kill some things that don't.
I mean, one interesting thing about Lenovo is that 1 year they showed say that this is a concept.
Yeah.
Then they kind of move on and say, okay, next year you go, hey, this is turned into a product, but a different product from the concept. So one of the interesting things. So let's talk about.
I thought you weren't good at this, Anurag. You're like a pro.
you are being too kind, having done this a few times with you guys. Maybe
you're more natural.
I think you're ready to start your own podcast now.
Oh my God!
Your quality
for it.
Your quality is rubbing off on me. But I think I want to kind of bridge the gap between Dell and Lenovo here for a moment, because Dell. Let's
give them a little bit of love. Okay, let's give them a little bit of love.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So Dell, I think, is playing a return to roots strategy. What I mean by that they've completely revitalized the XPS line, bringing back the physical function. They've got the XPS logo on the chassis itself, right? But the real story with Dell, I mean, XPS line, absolutely, I love it, right? And they are leaning into this Panther Lake architecture to make SPX 13 their thinnest ever. But the real story for Dell is their ultra sharp 52-inch 6K hub monitor. Amazing monitor, right? But so where I wanted to bridge the gap between Dell and Lenovo, because Lenovo showed a monitor with some software mechanics behind it, which was like a health monitor.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we saw that, right? Yeah. I think it was at the Brooklyn Bowl. We saw that it was monitoring your posture, your eyes, and everything like that, so that it could give you a health score, whether you need to take a break and things like that or not. So I was saying that, hey, if you combine that with the 52-inch monitor, the hub monitor, the 6K hub monitor that Dell rolled out, I think that the two would make absolutely fantastic. And HP, I will quickly just talk about HP. I think HP took the biggest form factor risk. I think they call it the Elite Board G1A. I mean, the naming convention is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
But they call it the Elite Board G1A. It's a full AI PC built entirely inside a keyboard. No tower, no laptop, just a 750 gram or 1 kilogram keyboard with a Ryzen AI chip that you plug into a screen.
Love it.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah. I want to circle back really quickly to Qualcomm. And the earlier comment about the 80 tops, and it's something that I highlighted on the recent AMD call. Prakash, you kind of had that a little bit teed off, but Qualcomm is taking a different stance. It's notable, right? And one of the reasons why I asked Jack the question that I did was, what is the philosophy? And it's clear that Qualcomm is looking at agentic in a different way, where I see Intel and AMD, like you said, Prakash. They're around the 50 tops range for the MPUs.
Yep.
So they're going kind of MPU light, even though this year Qualcomm with the X2 series, including the Plus, have beefed up not only the GPU, but they've doubled down on the MPU. So their whole vision for and the bets that they're making from a design standpoint are based on some notion of agentic AI. And so there's a whole assumption set that goes with that. And that's what I was trying to ask Jack. Actually, that's what I asked the Intel folks as well. And I think Qualcomm is a bit more visionary in what they're looking at. I think a lot of that is afforded by their mobile roots.
Heritage, yeah.
You know, when you talk about the ISVs and the experience with the MPU, Qualcomm has much more. It doesn't matter that, AMD and Intel will say that we've had an MPU for a long time. It's like, yeah, but you haven't really done what Qualcomm has had to do in mobile with the MPU because, the pioneers of this are Qualcomm and Apple. Right. And then arguably Huawei will jump in if they were here and say, hey, we did it too. Right. So these are the companies that have the long legacy in AI and digital signal processing and intelligence. And so they have the DNA. And so it's interesting to see that juxtaposition, right? When you look at what the traditional x86 guys are doing versus folks with the ARM, if you want to call it the ARM Snapdragon camp, that has more of the mobile information for Origin.
If this Kira becomes big on laptops and phones, then I think Qualcomm has a lot to gain from it because they have the best NPU on laptop and the best NPUs and the SoCs on the smartphone side. So I think it will really benefit them.
But it really depends. I mean, the Kira footprint, I think, is a lot lighter. And I think, just in terms of, let's say, AI, MPU bound AI support, they might have differentiation there where, the x86 guys will argue Qualcomm has compatibility issues, which I don't think are as big.
So I think the issue will be we'll have to see. It'll be on x86, the Kira right now. But if the utilization goes through the roof, then question will be whether like for 50 or 60 is the maximum tops that NPU from AMD has, or even right. So then you can see a differentiation appearing, right, in user experience. If Kira goes, really big, and then it needs more processing power, then you see. Otherwise, if it is very light, then the difference between 80 NPU versus 50, 60 NPU will not be that big.
But the point
go ahead.
We talk about this 80 tops and 40 tops. I think there are obviously many naysayers, right, who talk about, say, what does 80 tops give me, what if 40 tops it doesn't give me, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's to see that difference, you need very intense workloads.
Correct.
Then you'll see the difference, right? If you, for example, if you're
larger models,
if you're driving a Honda Civic and a Ferrari with where this maximum speed limit is 40 miles per hour, then you don't really see the difference between them, right?
It's more like comparing a sedan with a large truck in terms of workload. How heavy of a model, or how large, or how many models simultaneously you can run. So, the thesis is different, right? And so that philosophy is going to inform how you design your SoCs, how you structure your roadmap. And, that there's a clear differentiation or difference. And I don't mean differentiation being one being more competitive than the other. Philosophically, there is a sort of diversity in the AI PC chip play at the moment. But no, I wanted to talk about automotive. Did you guys ever make it over to the West Hall, by the way?
No, I did not, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Right.
just
Yeah.
I don't see too much.
I just want to make a real quick note here that one of the interesting things that I saw was very few OEMs. I mean, last year there weren't that many OEMs. I think the last remnant was like, or 2 years ago, that it was Mercedes-Benz, and that was like the one occasion that I managed to actually bump into a NVIDIA guy. And even though they, NVIDIA makes a big presence, they just don't have a booth except for now this whole, foundry area that they have at the Fontainebleau. But they're usually embedded with a lot of their partners and their customers.
Yeah.
But, the Chinese.
They used to have, though, I think from last year, about 2-3 years ago, they used to have.
And I think it may be because within 2 months from now they are having their own GTC, right?
Correct. Yeah. No point spending too much money here. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have GTC, but also, just overall, there's this increased interest in, the robo taxis and as a service type infrastructure versus, the autonomous vehicle systems and EVs. That's dropped off significantly. And then you saw Waymo actually had a really huge display area. So anyways, that was one of the things that I noticed from the automotive standpoint.
Did you manage to go to the Afila booth? I think that's the Sony and Honda collaboration.
I did.
They're coming out with the 100K car.
Yeah, and they also have an SUV now. I think that they're coming out with. So it's a good looking car. I mean, lots of electronics.
Yeah, it's like 28 speakers. That's I keep seeing the advertisements. So if you're
it's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's the one for you, but they'll pay 100K for that audio experience, I think, is a question.
I'll take a test drive one of these days. But let's see, what else is there? Okay, really quick. We've already kind of touched on it a little bit when we talked about Lenovo quite a bit already, but Tech World 2025 or 26.
I think we did enough. Yeah, I think.
We did.
I was not so sure whether it was a good idea or not. I think on the hindsight, they got so much of attraction, so much of attention away from CES onto their show. Maybe it's a good idea doing it at Sphere and at the same time as CES. And they said like they had 160,000. Is it 140,000 folks at the Sphere? So. I think I still miss in-depth conversations with the specific leads and such, which probably happens more at GIAC. But as a marketing event, outward marketing event, I think it was success combining that with CES and taking some shine away from CES, if you will, in my view.
Yeah, well, I am definitely glad that they didn't clump a GIAC with World. They're like water and oil and water. They just don't mix. And for the analysts, I don't think it's a good experience. I think having it separately is totally awesome. And Tech World, the way, how do you top what they did this year? Is I guess
exactly. So I think doing combining with CS, I think ended up.
And they didn't do it during CES per se. They,
When it was part of
in the evening, right?
It was part of a CES keynote, right? Even
Gary Shapiro came and
introduced. So it is part of CES, but and whatever they did, I think it was effective in my view.
I think the most important fact about, obviously they kind of announced it to the world that they're there. Yeah. And along with the sponsorship of FIFA, I think it goes a long way, right?
Yeah.
But the more important thing, having attended several different keynotes at the Sphere now, I can confidently say this was the best from both from an experience point of view and content point of view.
Yeah.
Right? just the use of the sphere acoustics and the haptics and everything, and the graphics, the way they designed it in partnership with Sphere Studios, right? I think it was absolutely mind-boggling. And above all, I mean, YY was having fun. Right? I mean, he was able to articulate his Lenovo One story. You got the IDG speak, you got the ISG speak, you got the SSG speak. There were no flashy customer stories, nothing at all. And he got the entire chip industry there.
Oh yeah.
And
I was about to say.
And he made everybody stay for that long. Right? And all came out. It's like absolutely mind-blowing.
And also I think weaving the story of how Lenovo technology kind of powers Spear, and I think that added good color to the story. That electing Spear, Spear was not just a gimmicky marketing ploy, but it is much more meaningful than just that, right? So
So any other last things that you guys want to share with the audience? I think we covered a lot. I mean, a lot of Lenovo stuff here, but I think a lot of things for a lot of different audiences to reflect on.
One thing I say is CES, the name, it's no longer a consumer show in my view. It is kind of the tech show, not just consumer. There's a lot of enterprise and industrial because of all the physical AI and everything. So I think that's one thing I saw. It's no longer like if you're an enterprise guy, you would say, why would I go to CES? But now, if you're no matter what, if you're in tech, you have to go, right? That's the reason it's becoming so big.
So I have to, talking about that, I have to tell you a story. So it was way back in 1990 or 1991, 92. I was in India and I was leading an organization called MATE. Not leading an organization, MATE. It is the IT Industries Association in India, and I was the executive in charge there. And I led a delegation to Las Vegas. I'm not sure whether it was called Comdex that time or was it called CES that time. But I had come, and the first article that I ever wrote of my experience about CS, I still remember the title of it. Don't laugh. It said, "From lap dances to laptops."
That was a different era.
that was a different era. But Prakash, you're right. I mean, I think for the technology OEMs, right, regarding CS, the message is clear. The clamshell era is not over, but it's not the only game in town. We are entering a period of modular autonomy. And extending that, if I look at all the other health tech, the home tech and everything that I saw, I said, okay, what would I buy at home to use, right, for myself or for home? I think maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 were the only thing that were really useful that I would say, okay, you know what, I can really make use of it, right? And I cannot for the life of me have everything plugged into USB-C ports all over my house. It's not possible.
No. Yeah, you can be over convenienced, as I put it. What I've discovered is if you have too many of these vacuum cleaning robots around the house, the occupants of the house tend to just drop things on the floor and make a mess, and that becomes the status quo. I mean, it's the convenience. You just assume, hey, I got a robot that's going to pick it up. Turn into a slob.
Correct. And there were robots, the vacuum cleaner robots who said, hey, okay, we can identify a pet. Okay, fine, then we will slow down. Or we can identify a crib, so we will quietened down, and
Yeah.
there were robots that could climb up the stairs or come down the stairs. By the time it climbs up to the top of the 13 steps I have, I might as well lift my own vacuum cleaner and do it and be done with it, right?
Yes. And by the way, if my wife ever watches this, she's going to kill me. And so on that note, gentlemen, thank you so much. This is really fun. Okay. It's really wonderful to have you share your insights from CES 2026 as well as Lenovo Tech World 2026. It was great to spend time with both of you there at these events. And to our audience, thanks for tuning in. And please reach out to Prakash at Tantra Analyst at www.tantraanalyst.com. He also has a podcast, which is Tantra's Mantra, right? Where he has a lot of special guests. I probably pronounced that really horribly, but you get my idea.
You did okay.
And then, of course, the illustrious chief global analyst of the universe, Anurag Agrawal of Techaisle. You can find his works as well as the research that his organization does at techaisle.com. And so please reach out to both of them on LinkedIn. And gentlemen, once again, thank you so much. Everyone, please subscribe to our podcast. And this particular episode, which you're probably watching right now, will be featured on the Next Curve YouTube channel. Check out the audio version. If you don't, like the video stuff and you want to take us on the road, on Buzzsprout, and find us on your favorite podcast platform. Also, subscribe to the Next Curve research portal at www.next-curve.com and our Substack for the tech and industry insights that matter. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Good to be here.